that this person was arrested by me. It put the name into me, but these friends of mine, I haven't mentioned the name yet. But it happened to be Michael Puleta. And later, it happened to be the very same Puletau who is arrested with the
your statement. He says, we were in your jurisdiction to escort suspects. And then he mentions that Michael Tau is involved or involving a police officer. If he doesn't mention a connection to Molefe, who is your brother-in-law, if he doesn't say that suspect is connected to Molefe, if he doesn't say that, one, two, if he doesn't say that it has to do with the Aman Swat case, but Molefe needs
I told him that I know of the case because in one of our subs WhatsApp groups, there was an article in regard to the case and that a police officer was arrested in that case. He, meaning you, further told him that the investigating officer of the case is witness B. And he asked me, you asked him if I knew her. I informed Brigadier Nkwashu that I know witness B and I work with her. I'm just going to continue to paragraph 4 as well. Brigadier Nkwashu then informed me that his brother-in-law, though he did not mention his name, says he knows the arrested person and the brother-in-law wanted to know if the state would oppose bail. I then told Brigadier Nkwashu that when I see witness B, I will ask her if the state will oppose bail. On my return to work, I met witness B and I told her that I saw an article in a Vereniging murder case and that she is the investigating officer. Witness B answered me that indeed she is the investigating officer and that the case very sensitive and would not discuss the merits thereof. I then informed witness B that I was with Brigadier Nkwashu over the weekend, who indicated that his brother-in-law wanted to know if the state is opposing bail or if the bail is to be fixed, how much will be the bail be. Furthermore, I informed her that Brigadier Nkwashu's brother-in-law was willing to pay the bail for the accused person, Buletao. Witness B informed me that she was opposing bail. I then returned informed Brigadier Nkwashu that the state is opposing bail. Now, Brigadier, if you have regard to those 2 paragraphs where he discusses what you told him, there's a number of marked differences between the version that you've put down in your statement and his description of what happens. Correct?
Correct, Advocate.
And you will see there on his account, there's also information that came out of the meeting between you and Mr. Molefe that you don't say you've ever mentioned to anyone. One such example is that Mr. Molefe was willing to pay the bail of the accused. That's something that you mentioned happened in the meeting, but in your recollection of what you said your brother-in-law asked you whether the state was going to oppose bail, and you told him that you don't discuss work. So it's a fact that he knew only because you would have told him. Do you accept that?
I will partially not accept that, Advocate. I will tell you why.
Why? Yes.
From the paragraphs that you read,
Yes.
you realize that my version is saying that I haven't mentioned the name of my brother-in-law. And he went on in his day. I told him that I know of the case in one of our subs WhatsApp groups. There was an article regarding that case. Now, and that a police officer was arrested.
Yes.
Now, he further told the investigating officer of the case, which is witness B, and he asked me if I knew her, meaning I asked him
Yes.
if he knew witness B.
Yes.
I never asked him. And he already knew about this case from their WhatsApp group. And he went on to say, I told him that the investigating officer is Sergeant Bell. And earlier on, I testified before the commissioners that the docket, when it was taken to the organized crime, it was not having an investigating officer yet. The investigating officer was assigned from the organized crime commander as I related the processes.
Could you indulge us and give us a 5-minute break, please? There's something we'd like
Let's
to
adjourn.
discuss with the evidence leader.
All right, it looks like we are ready to resume. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Boy.
Yes, Brigadier, perhaps let's do this. Let's take it one step at a time and go through the key differences between your version and that of Sergeant Sukudu. So the first significant difference is that Sergeant Sukudu says you are the one that raised the issue related to the Vereniging murder investigation. Can you see that?
Yes, Advocate.
Right? And that you deny that you were the first one.
I deny.
All right. He then says that the case is, you said to him that the case was in their unit, i.e., provincial organized crime.
Correct, Advocate.
And do you deny this as well?
That the case is in
That
there.
you said that?
No, I didn't say that.
But at this time, you did know that the case is indeed there, in
Yes.
their unit.
I knew.
And you knew this because?
I knew this because when the scene was finalized, they requested, his office, which is Organized Crime Holding, requested the docket. And I remember I said, Advocate, that I authorized the transfer of the docket to the same unit.
So on the day of the murder and the arrests, you knew that it was in his unit.
Correct, Advocate.
Now he says that he then says to you in response, he knows about this case because it was reported in one of the SAP's WhatsApp groups. Do you recall him saying this to you?
No, I don't recall him saying that.
Do you deny that he said this to you?
Yeah, I deny it flatly.
Brigadier, I would expect that if Sergeant Sukudu was involved in escorting suspects to your jurisdiction, in the statement he would say so. In this statement, he doesn't say anything about knowing about this case because he had escorted people to your jurisdiction, or in fact, in addition to seeing it in a WhatsApp group that he has escorted the suspects to the jurisdiction. He doesn't say anything like that. And I would expect him, in his statement, to mention that. Because it is an important fact and that connects him to this case, that tells us how he knows, or that he knows something about this case. But curiously, he doesn't say that, and yet you say that's in fact how your conversation with him started. It is him saying, we came to your jurisdiction escorting suspects.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Baloyi. Commissioner Baloyi, you'll recall that this conversation was not of a formal nature, and we were sitting at the drinking place, and we were not really discussing it on an official base where we'll have to apply our minds and so forth and so on. I've learned also that Sergeant Sukudu was not part of the escorting team, but Warrant Officer Koto and them, they were part, but they were utilizing the vehicle of Warrant Officer Sergeant Sukudu. Now, when this conversation was started, we were in the mingle of things, and I'm not disputing that Sergeant Tsukudu might not have been part of the escorting team, but his team or his colleagues were definitely part, and they are the one who started this conversation, if I recall very well. And I will be accepting the blame if I mistakenly mentioned something that was not said by him, by virtue of us being in a place where it's easy for us to forget such things because of our status of the day.
Being in a stock fair.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, can I, in the light of your explanation now, can we then discount Sergeant Tsukudu as one of the people that said to you or to the group with which you were that they had come to your jurisdiction? Can we discount him?
Thank you, I agree, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Deal with this. To me, a major difference, and this is a material difference between Sergeant Tsukudu's statement and your statement, is that in paragraph 3 of Sergeant Tsukudu's statement, this conversation happened before Tau was escorted to his bail hearing. Because you will see that when the conversation continues, it talks about whether the state will be opposing bail and how much that bail will be. So what Sergeant Tsukudu is talking about in paragraph 3 is a period before Tau is even escorted this issue of the bail. Now that's a major difference because your statement suggests that you had this conversation after Tau had been escorted by Sergeant Tsukudu's team. That to me is a major and material difference that you need to explain.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. Commissioner Kumalo, to explain on that one, I'm also...
Before you explain, do you accept that paragraph 3 deals with the period before Tau is escorted to his bail hearing?
Reading this paragraph
Yes.
3, I agree,
Yes.
Commissioner.
All right.
I agree.
If you agree that there's that material difference, then you can explain what you wanted to explain.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. I wanted to, having highlighted the difference between my version and Sergeant Tsukudu's version in paragraph 3, having alluded to him saying he further told the investigating officer of the case, and he asked me if I knew her, meaning I asked him if he knows her. Commissioner, for me it does not make sense that the docket left my district without an investigating officer. How had I known that this docket is assigned to this investigating officer? And why would I ask him? Why will I tell him that the investigating officer is so and so? And in paragraph 4, he went on to say he learned about this case. Perhaps let me go to that paragraph, Commissioner. He says,
You're looking for paragraph 3 where he says he learned about it on their WhatsApp group.
oh
Is that
yes,
what you're looking for?
Commissioner, but when we move on to paragraph 4, it starts with Brigadier Nkwashi then informed me that his brother-in-law, though he did not mention his name, which is corroborating what I said in this one, says he knows the arrested person, and the brother-in-law wanted to know if the state will oppose bail. I then told Brigadier Nkwashi that when I see witness B, I will ask her if the state will oppose bail. On, let's pause a little bit there, commissioners. I then told Brigadier Nkos that when I see, I will ask her if the state will oppose bail. He doesn't say I sent him, and because I did not send him. So on my return to work, I met witness B, and I told her that I saw an article in Vereniging Meda case. Meaning, I confirm what the Commissioner Kumalo was saying, that he already knew about this case because on his return to work and during their conversation on the WhatsApp. So it simply means that when he get back to work, he already knew about this case.
I think you are misunderstanding me because you've moved ahead of us and you are dealing with issues that Advocate Power is going to be dealing with, and I don't want to deal with those issues. The focus of my question is this conversation between you and Brigadier Chukudu, sorry, not Brigadier, Sergeant Chukudu. According to him, it's taking place before Tau is escorted for his bail. So the trigger for this conversation could not have been you hearing that somebody was escorted for bail and then you are linking it with the conversation with Katiso Molefe. Because at this stage, according to Sergeant Chukudu, nobody has been escorted for bail. That is still to happen in the future. At this stage, you are initiating a conversation before anybody has mentioned that somebody was escorted for bail. That's really my focus. And this is a major difference to me between the two statements. Because on your version, the only reason you mention Katiso Molefe is because somebody tells you that Tau was escorted for bail. And then that triggers your memory as far as the discussion you had with Katiso Molefe is concerned. Now, this sergeant here says, before Tau was escorted, because the escorting you'll see comes much later in paragraph 4, and Advocate Poe is going to be dealing with that. So to me, this is a major difference, and one of you is not telling the truth. Either Sergeant Chukudu is not telling the truth, or you are not telling the truth.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. I'm telling the truth. For a fact, I'm telling the truth, Commissioner Kumalo. And to support my statement, I got to know, Commissioner Kumalo, that this escort, which was made, that we were talking to, was not for the first time. I get to know that the bail application or the court hearing for the bail application was not done on one day. So meaning the escort started from the time when they were arrested and they were escorted to my area. And then they were also escorted to court. And they did not go on one day for the bail application. So there could be some contradiction in there because really, Commissioner Kumalo, we were talking in the drinking area. But all I remember, I might not remember the facts 100%, but all I remember, Commissioner Kumalo, is that the escort was not held once. And the day we met, definitely I want to say that this conversation was not started by me. And they talked about having come to visit to check me in my office, only to find that I was unavailable. And I wouldn't have, and during the conversation, he acknowledged, Sergeant Sugut, that yes, they were using my state vehicle, but me, during that time, when they came there, I was on leave.
Yes, I think you, now for the first time you are mentioning the two escorts, but even your statement, the focus was on one escort. Now let me ask you one question and then hand over to my co-commissioners. Between the date of your first meeting with Katiso Molefe in June 2024 and this discussion with Sergeant Tukudu, how many escorts of Officer Tau had taken place? Because if it's an escort that happened before you met Katiso Molefe, it's irrelevant to this discussion. So between June 2024 and this Stockfell, or this meeting that you had with Sergeant Tukudu, how many times had Tau been escorted to Vereeniging and back?
I really don't have the number of times recorded somewhere, Commissioner Kumalo. However, I can safely say that it was more than 2 escorts, because I was the one who was arranging the TRT, the Technical Response Team, to accompany them to escort those Tau and them suspects to prison, to court, and it happened more than 2 times, that I can confirm.
Can I ask you to do this? It's going to be very important as we continue. When you are asked a question, only answer that question that is being asked.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll end up talking about paragraph 5 and paragraph 6, and we are not there yet. So try to limit your answer to the question that is asked. If you need to clarify or explain, you can ask the chair for permission to clarify.
Thank you.
But for the purposes of our discussion, try to limit your answer to the question.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Kumalo, just to say that this was Tau's second bite at the bail. So there was an initial bail that was denied, and then he sought to bring a second based on new circumstances. And in Sergeant Belle's, in one of the witnesses' testimonies, it was explained that the interaction or the attempt to intervene happened as it related to the second bail application, for what it's worth.
It still doesn't help me, because if the first bail application was before June 2024, then that's before the Katiso Molefe discussion, and it can be what is being referred to in the statement. That was really my point.
I accept. All I can do is point out, if you go to page 36 of tab 3,
This is step 4.
at paragraph 75, you'll see there the explanation that it's not even explained properly, but that there were several appearances before it was eventually heard. So just to say that they may have been they were appearances before it was eventually heard.
It's because it looks like the new facts one was brought on the 1st of August 2024.
No, it was eventually heard on that day,
Eventually
but
heard,
there was a couple of appearances before that.
All right.
Brigadier, we're going through the differences, and in the course of your engagement with Commissioner Kumalo, I think you tried to deal with this one where, the second last sentence, where Sergeant Sugudu says that you told him that witness B was investigating the case and asked if he knew her. So that, right? And you say that is not possible, correct? Because you didn't know who the investigating officer was.
Correct, Advocate.
And then can I ask, remember when you explained the registration of the docket and movement? That system where you can check the movement of the docket is accessible to you.
Yes, it is accessible to me.
So if you open it, you would be able to see who the investigating officer is.
Yes, Advocate.
So are you saying that since the docket was placed with Gauteng Organized Crime, you've never checked the system?
No, I never checked this, the system, Advocate.
So you didn't know?
I didn't know, and I had no reason. And Advocate, if what I'm submitting to the commission is perceived to be wrong, you can be able to get to the system and check. Once you log into the system, the record will be there that in 2024 June you logged into the system.
So you are saying that every time anyone logs into the system to check, there's a recorder of that?
Yes.
And so we would be able to check?
Pardon, Advocate?
And so we would be able to see if you've logged on between a
Yes.
particular period? All right. But you don't deny that if you were to look, you would have known who the
No,
investigating
I don't
officers
deny
were?
it.
All right.
So are you continuing on this
On this,
theme? Carry on and then.
and so you're also denying that you asked him?
I deny, Advocate.
All right. And then he then says he informed you that he knows witness B and works with her. So this part of the conversation also didn't occur, where he says, I know her, I work with her.
No.
And then if you move on to paragraph 4,
Maybe before you do that, let me ask the question. Brigadier, remember the earlier conversation about the docket, even though it's been transferred to organized crime, it remains your docket. What in fact does it mean that it remains your docket? And specifically what what I'm trying to find out is, to keep track of that docket as your docket. What in fact does it mean practically? What can you do? What can you not do? What can you phone and ask? What is the status? What is the latest update? Because it's your docket. Can you not ask for information relating to that docket?
Thank you, Commissioner Balu. Indeed, the docket, as I alluded earlier on, remain the station of origin. Like you remember, Commissioner Kumala assisted us that the previous witnesses said that when the docket has been registered at Station A, this one was in Station Vereeniging, for an example, it remained the accountability of the commanders in Vereeniging. So, however, when it is assigned in the system to investigating officer A or B, when I want to transact, to log into the system and update the system of what is happening in the investigation, I will not be able to do that because the system recognizes the person who is responsible for that particular docket as the investigating officer, who has gotten access to the contents of the docket, and you will not be able to access anything in the docket, but you can be able to get into the system to check who is this docket assigned to, and you can only end up there.
That's one part of it. It answers, it's part of the answer that I'm looking for. But more specifically, can you, now that the docket is transferred to this organized crime unit, provincial, can you phone up somebody and ask what is the status, what is happening in that matter? What I'm asking, or where I'm coming from, is the Swart family. They want to know, let's say, from you, because it's your docket. The matter is reported at your station. They have no dealings with organized crime. They come to you and they want to know. There's no movement in this matter. Right? We want to know what's going on. What are you able to do to get information about what's happening in this docket? As the owner of the docket and the only person that they can approach to get answers from.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. I'll answer that in two approach. First one, systematically, as the owner of that particular docket initially, you are able to log into the system, and when you log into the system, you put the case number. You will be able to see the status update. The status update talks to what is the latest investigation done in the case. You'll be able to see that. For an example, a case has appeared in court yesterday, and the matter has been postponed to December next year. You will be able to see that. But the real contents of the investigation, you will never be able to access. You will not be able to see what the statements attached to the docket are saying. And then on the second approach, Commissioner Paloi, yes, when you receive a complaint as the owner of the docket, and you need to update the complainant or the victim, and meanwhile the docket is investigated outside of your station, you open a file. When you open a file, we call it a complaint against the police. And then you assign an investigating officer. And then you say to the investigating officer of the complaint now. That's why it's a file, it's not a docket. Then the investigating officer of that particular file, which we are assigned to commissioned officers, will go to the investigating officer concerned and ask that particular investigating officer concerned as to why are you not giving progress to the complainant.
Right. I guess maybe it's my fault. I didn't quite explain properly what I wanted to find out. There's the way of getting into the system. You say you could log in and it will tell us who logged in when. And through that system, you'll be able to find out who is the investigating officer if you went onto the system. And I accept when you say, but you can't get any more than certain basic information. The question that I was asking was, the fact that the docket has moved to organized crime, does it prevent you, Brigadier Nkwashu, does it prevent you calling somebody, whether at organized crime or somebody else, and asking who is the investigating officer in this matter, for whatever reason? Maybe because you want to know why is the matter not progressing, for whatever reason. But the focus of my question is, the fact that the docket is no longer with you, does it mean you are precluded in the way things work are you precluded from asking who is the investigating officer in this matter and asking whoever is the right person to ask?
No,
Okay.
not precluded.
So it's information you could get if you
yes.
wanted to get.
Yes, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
And then, Brigadier, let's move to paragraph 4. And then there, paragraph 4, this is where your two statements match. And that is, you informed Sergeant Sukudu that your brother-in-law, and didn't mention a name, knows the arrested person and wants to know if the state would oppose bail. So that you confirm.
Correct, Advocate.
Now, Sergeant Suguru goes on to say that he informed you that when he sees witness B, he will ask her if the state will oppose bail.
He never informed me.
He
Advocate.
never informed you.
No.
And he then goes on to explain that on his return to work, he did have a conversation with witness B, and told her about an article that he has seen. He then says that witness B declined to talk about the matter and said it was very sensitive. He then informed witness B that you, over the weekend, had indicated that your brother-in-law wanted to know if the state is opposing bail or if the bail is to be fixed and how much would it be, and further, that your brother-in-law was willing to pay the bail of the accused. So you deny all of that?
I deny, Advocate, and just to remind you that what I earlier said in my initial evidence, that I know what is the processes of granting bail. So I wouldn't have gone to the sergeant to ask, will the state oppose bail or how much will be the bail? Because it's not the sergeant or the investigating officer that is allocating bail.
But Brigadier, surely you know that the presiding officer would not have much to work on if they do not have information from the investigating officer or whoever else may assist. And you know that what's usually placed before the investigating officer are either affidavits or testimony in the witness stand. And then that assists the presiding officer to decide whether to grant or refuse bail. Now, if, for example, an investigating officer, whether on their own or as a result of influence by others, decide not to oppose bail, that may go a long way towards influencing the decision to be one that actually grants bail when it ought not to have been. I'm not saying that that will happen automatically, but I'm saying it may well have that effect. So I don't think it assists for you to say, it's the presiding officer that grants bail. That doesn't say much.
Thank you, Commissioner, Chair. I agree with what you are saying. However, Commissioner, it is, it will be very much, I don't know how can I put it, I'll be out of my mind in the absence of the relevant term that I can use to suggest that the investigating officer will know, even if she could have an influence, Commissioner, towards the granting of the bail. But to an extent that I go and say, go and ask how much will be the bail, is really unforeseen of a person at my level, Commissioner. I really can't say that. It does not suit my profile.
I think what the chairperson is engaging on you on is your answer suggests that the police and specifically the investigating officer is completely irrelevant to the question of bail. And the chair is saying, but that's not, in reality, that's not how it works. The investigating officer gets to express a view on bail. They don't make the decision, but they do get to express a view. And the way you've been dealing with this question since you started testifying is you're creating the impression that the police and investigating officers in particular are irrelevant to the question. That's a matter for the court to deal with, for the presiding officer, and nobody else matters. And that's an incorrect, description of what happens when bail applications are brought. And I wanted to suggest much earlier that when Mr. Molefe speaks to you, he's speaking to you as a police officer to ask about the police attitude towards bail. There will be the prosecutor's attitude towards bail, and eventually the magistrate will make a decision, but it's not an accurate reflection of what happens when you say, we have nothing to do with it, it's the magistrate and that's it, or the court and that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Commissioner, I hear what you're saying, and my response towards that is back to what I said earlier on, really, because I know, I'm accepting that, yes, the investigating officer can have an influence, can have a word, will be assisting in the granting of the bail and so forth. However, Commissioner, I would have known if I intended to assist my brother-in-law with this bail. I would have told him from the onset that, Swara, even if bail is not going to be opposed, we will not be in a position to know when the bail is granted, how much will it be. Secondly, this is a Schedule 6 offense, Commissioner. You can't start having to ask an investigating officer not to oppose bail because it's a Schedule 6 offense. It's a very serious offense. This incident, it happened in aggravating circumstances.
But a corrupt police official could do that. I'm not saying that you are. But you appear to be proceeding from the premise that there are no corrupt police officers out there who could do something like that. I know, of course, you are testifying with regard to yourself, but the reality is that there are corrupt officers, and corrupt officers could act in that manner, that is, in a manner where they would not oppose bail when they ought to. So basically your answer is, I'm not one of those, and I would never ever do that. Is that your answer? You've already accepted what Commissioner Baloyi and I posited to you. You've accepted that. So basically, what you are doing now is to say, I'm not a corrupt police officer and I would never do that. Am I summarizing what you are saying correctly?
100% Commissioner Chair. I am not a corrupt officer, and I'll never do that. And Commissioner, in real, if I wanted to do that, I would have rather approached the magistrate handling that case. I'm in a position where I'm working with the magistrate in that area, and perhaps I will have even gone to a prosecutor.
Approach a magistrate in open court or
No, if I was corrupt,
with a brown
if I was
envelope?
corrupt, yes, yes, I'll do it anyhow, but not straightforward.
All right, then.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Brigadier, but you do accept that there are various points of entry when you are trying to influence the process. In your statement, you did list that it is the prosecutor, the magistrate, and the investigating officer.
Yes, Advocate, I do accept there are corrupt police officers who will use any means and ways to get it their way, but not an experienced cop like me. Doing it that way, that was too low for me.
All right, Brigadier, and then Sergeant Tsukuru then also said something about your brother-in-law being willing to pay for the bail of the accused. So you denied all of that, but how would he know this part?
I also want to know, how did he know that my brother-in-law is willing to pay that bail, equally to how much is going to be affixed? I also want to know, Commissioners.
But you accept that it is odd that he would know this particular detail, given that that's something that only Mr. Molefe told you?
Yes, it is odd, Commissioner.
And then,
I think the right word is it's a coincidence, not odd. It would be a strange coincidence that Mr. Molefe said to you he's prepared to pay bail, and Sergeant Tsukudu repeats that. If he didn't hear it from you, and I'm not. It's not clear to me why, considering that Mr. Molefe said it to you, that he's prepared to pay bail, why you would deny, when you're admitting that you did say your brother-in-law asked about whether the state would oppose bail. I don't see the harm in you admitting that I did complete that conversation with Molefe to Tsukudu by saying, my brother-in-law said he's prepared to pay bail. I mean, it would make sense to me that you would have conveyed all of that line of communication. And you're denying that you mentioned that. Then the coincidence in the versions that you say, I never told him that Molefe is prepared to pay bail, or my brother-in-law is prepared to pay bail, and yet Mr. Molefe told you that. It's a strange coincidence that he would know that.
Thanks, Commissioner Baloi. Let me take the commissioners back to my earlier submission that commissioners, I'm not perfect. I'm not a saint either. And we were discussing this passively in a drinking place, and I don't, I'm accepting that I may not remember vividly everything that we discussed there, but I don't remember me saying all those things to the sergeant. I did not send him. I did not remember me sending him and talking about those. Perhaps if I touch base, akaikutlwa, antitwanga, Commissioner.
What the Brigadier has said is if he did touch base, he didn't hear himself saying it. I'm actually making a different point. I'm not talking about you sending him. We are not there yet. I was just addressing that Mr. Molefe says to you, he asks whether the state would oppose bail. You say that happened, and Sergeant Tukudu said you mentioned that, so there's no dispute there. But we also know from you that Mr. Molefe said to you that he's prepared to pay bail, to the bail money for his friend. And then Sergeant Tukudu says in the statement that you mentioned that your brother-in-law is prepared to pay bail. And what I'm saying is, I don't see harm, and it's, in fact, I think it's probable that's how it happened. You did explain the context. You're in a Stockville. You're having this casual conversation, you say, to us. And in that casual conversation that you are having, it's more likely than not that when you mention that your brother-in-law asked whether the state would oppose bail, it's likely that you would have said, and he said he would be prepared to pay bail, even if that's all you say, you know. And that would explain why Sergeant Tukudu knows that part, that your brother-in-law said he's prepared to pay bail. It would explain it, that it came from you. And it came in the context that you are explaining to us.
Thanks, Commissioner Baloyi. I accept that.
Brigadier, then Sergeant Tukudu comes back and says, witness B informed him that she was opposing bail, and then he returns this information to you. He relays this information to you. Do you deny that happened?
Yes, I deny it.
Before dealing with the second time that Sergeant Tukudu goes back to witness B, my question is, it is quite an elaborate scheme, if it is one, that Sergeant Tukudu has put here. It's a detailed conversation that has elements that match with yours, but if this never happened, i.e. you never sent him, why would he concoct this sort of story?
That is what I also want to find out. Why did he concoct this story? But as I was dipping and waking up with this matter, many things come to my mind. So, Tukudu is my longtime friend, and with others, and go to Stockholm together and do many things together. And obviously, I'm his senior by far. And earlier on, I accepted that he's doing me favors, I'm doing him favors, be it official or otherwise. Perhaps, I'm not saying this is how it happened, but I'm just thinking on my own. Perhaps he thought he's doing a friend a favor. I don't know, he wanted to do me a favor, because all what I record is when he said, but Brigadier, you say, this is your brother-in-law. Then I said, yes, he's my brother-in-law, but I stopped him in his tracks. So I'm just deducting, thumbing as to why would he go that far, perhaps, and I come up amongst other thinkings that perhaps he was just trying to do a friend a favor.
Brigadier, why would he want to do you that favor when you made it clear to them that you do not discuss work with other people? And in fact, you said to them you would not act on it. He's, like you said, he's your longtime friend. And you've made it clear to them that you told them you don't discuss work and you don't do this. And you even said in that conversation, in that exchange, someone said, but Brigadier, why don't you? And you, at that moment, even shut it down and you said, me, no, I don't do that. So why would that be a favor for a friend who has expressed that they do not want to engage in that?
Yes, Commissioners, all I'm saying is not a fact. I'm not saying that is what was in his mind. I'm just, scrambling around to think, this could be the possibility that crossed my mind, but I'm not saying that was the fact.
Is there a possibility that you were not as assertive about your reluctance to intervene? And this is why he felt that he could help you in this manner?
There were many possibilities. I'll say yes. There could be a possibility.
Or worse is the possibility not that you actually did ask for the favor.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Chair.
I'm saying, or worse still, is the other possibility that you actually did ask for the favor from Sergeant Tsukudu, which is why you are not able to explain what happened or what he did or what he says he did.
Commissioner, I'm sorry. I'm not really understanding that statement.
Yes, yes.
I really.
You disagree? No, you are free. Feel free. Don't be, don't be hesitant in your response. Tell me to my face that you disagree.
No, it's not a matter of disagreeing. I just really.
Oh, you don't follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Powe suggested a possibility to you as to what may have happened, and if I remember well, I think Ms. Powe said you may not have been assertive enough in indicating that you would not be willing to engage in what is being alleged. And in fact, that you had said to Mr. Molefe, I do not talk about work. And you repeat that when you are talking to the people you are with at the stock fair. So Ms. Powe, if I understood her correctly, says, when you said that perhaps you were not, the possibility is that you were not assertive enough, which is why, despite you having repeated this to those you are with at the stock fair, Sergeant Tsukudu would still have gone ahead and made this inquiry from witness B. And once he got a response, have then come back to you and given you that response. So that's the possibility that Ms. Powe is suggesting to you. I'm saying, worse still, another possibility is that you may actually have made the request to Sergeant Tsukudu. Sergeant Tsukudu, please go to witness B and make these inquiries on my behalf with regard to the question of bail. So that's the other possibility I'm suggesting to you, which is harsher than what Ms. Powe suggested. Do you follow me now?
Now I follow you, Commissioner. Thanks very much.
Yes.
Yeah, Commissioner, I could have not been assertive enough, and in simple English, I will say.
We are past that. That's the possibility that was suggested by Ms. Powe, and I think you responded. Now I'm putting to you, or I'm suggesting to you, another possibility. So please respond to the second possibility that I'm suggesting to you.
I don't think, Commissioner, it could have gone to that an extent after having told them that I don't, I told my brother-in-law that I don't discuss my cases with a civilian. And my work is off limits. I will have gone to tell, even if I'm so cut, I don't remember me having done a mistake of that nature to say, I instruct you to go and do this and this and this, Commissioner. And another thing, Commissioner, I believe that you will know that we're talking about the sergeant here. And the sergeant is not an entry-level rank in the police. I believe that he's more than 20 years of service. And as a sergeant, he should have known.
It's a friend doing a friend a favor.
That one I
Brigadier.
take, Commissioner.
Yes,
That
yes.
one I take, but I couldn't have given him that instruction like that, General Commissioner, I'm sorry. And even if it's Lambert during the conversation, which was, during the enjoying ourselves, I don't think I could have gone to that far, Commissioner. And I can take only that one that he could have done that by thinking that he's doing me a favor. And of course, he knows I will always look after him if he is looking after me.
I must say at this stage, there are lots of probabilities that point in the opposite direction, but I hope Ms. Powe will take us through those, and we too will probably come in. There are lots of probabilities that point in the opposite direction.
Okay, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Powe.
Brigadier, on this very point, this time I don't want to suggest it to you, but I want to put it to you, that it's more probable that the conversation, if you look at the scheme of your version and Sergeant Sukudu's version, it's more probable that you discussed far more with Mr. Molefe about this matter than you care to tell us. And whether it was an instruction or simply a suggestion between friends, that it's more likely that you told or asked or hinted to Sergeant Sukudu to get information about the bail proceedings from witness B, and that it would make sense for him to be the one who does it because the two of them are in the same unit. You would have always had access to who the investigating officer is by virtue of your system. That system, you can even ask a subordinate to check for you. So it's not always true that we would only attain that information by checking your record. And that is after this that Sergeant Sukudu approaches witness B. What would be your comment to that?
I don't have a comment, Advocate, since you said you're putting it to me.
It's your opportunity to deny.
Like I said earlier on to the commission, that we were in a drinking space and enjoying ourselves. I don't deny 100% that I could have, said more to what is captured, but I really don't remember, and I don't think of me having to lose it to that an extent. Tell this sergeant to go and do that, I really don't think I can go as far, Advocate.
In his statement, and maybe in fairness to you, Sergeant Chukudu doesn't say you instructed him. He doesn't say that. What he says is you informed him that your brother-in-law says he knows the arrested person, and the brother-in-law wanted to know if the state will oppose bail, right? That's what he says. You mentioned that. And all of that which I have read now is exactly your conversation. What you say was your conversation with Mr. Molefe. So he says then that, and then he says, and this is where you seem to be disputing. He says, I then told Brigadier Nkwashu that when I see witness B, I will ask if the state will oppose bail. That's as far as he goes. Now, it seems to me that if you did say to him, your brother-in-law asked if the state will oppose bail, and or that, or in addition to that, whether or not in addition to that you said you will be prepared to pay bail, and that's all you said, it's not improbable that Sergeant Tsukudu would then say, I'll ask witness B what the attitude is. And then he went, without you saying, go ask witness B, if you did not say that, but just how you conversed, he may well have read it to mean, well, you're not sending him, but he would like to come back to you with an answer. But you said it for a reason, you know, you were expressing what your brother-in-law has said, and it may not be that you were signaling to him who is in the same unit as witness B to check what is the position, what is the attitude of the state. It's not improbable that it happened that way.
I agree, Commissioner.
Then, Brigadier, let's then move on to what he says in paragraph 5.
There's something in the last sentence of paragraph 4 which I think we are missing. Can we please deal with that?
Yes. Brigadier, you'll see in the last sentence, Sergeant Tsukudu then says, I informed Brigadier Nkwashu that the state is opposing bail. Do you recall Sergeant Tsukudu ever coming to you to tell you this?
No.
And maybe just for completeness, do you deny that it happened? Because there's a difference between whether you remember or whether you say it didn't happen at all.
I don't remember, Advocate.
So you don't remember, not that it didn't happen?
No, I don't remember.
And then, given the significance of this issue and what you had gone through, I mean, you had a meeting with your brother-in-law. If he did come back, you wouldn't remember. If he did come back to you, you wouldn't remember.
If he came back to give me that answer,
Yes.
I think I was going to remember. Not unless, again, we meet in a Stockford and they talk about it. But if he came back to me to give me an answer, I think I would remember, commissioners.
Okay. And then, I can't recall if I read paragraph 5. But at paragraph 5, he deals with what happens later on. He says, after some few days, Brigadier Nkwashu informed me that his brother-in-law told him Warrant Officer Tau was granted bail, and that the family says I should say thank you to witness B for granting him bail. Following that, when I met witness B, I told her that Brigadier asked me to pass the message to say the brother-in-law and the family say thank you for granting Warrant Officer Dao bail. And her response was that it was not her who granted Warrant Officer Dao bail, but the court. Furthermore, witness B had informed me that this case is very sensitive and that I should not talk to anyone about it. I do not recall that the last time I interacted with witness B was the time she asked me to assist her for another matter which she was handling in Witboiki, though I do not know the merits of that case. You see that?
Yes, Advocate.
Now, let's take it step by step. Did you inform Sergeant Sukudu that Warrant Officer Tau had been granted bail?
No.
Do you dispute it, not that you don't recall if you did?
Pardon?
Do you dispute it or do you not recall?
I dispute it.
So even in a social context, you have never mentioned this to him?
No.
He then says that you conveyed to him that he should thank witness B for granting him bail. Did that occur?
Commissioners, let's for 1 second take it a little bit back. Sergeant Tugudi says he informed me that witness B said she was opposing bail.
Yes.
And she is not the one who assisted Warrant Officer Tau to get the bail. Now, why would I then send Sergeant Tsugudu to go say thank you after him giving me a feedback that she is not able to assist us, or she is opposing bail and therefore she's not assisting us or budging to, if I send him to go and look for the possibility of her influencing the presiding officer. Why would then I send Sergeant Tsugudu to say thank you? Thank you for what?
Brigadier, but you're talking about 3 different conversations, and that's what I wanted to put to you. If you look at where paragraph 4 starts, and
Yes,
it's related to 3. So this is the first conversation before the bail hearing, because this is where, according to Sergeant Tsugudu, you are having the discussion about what your brother-in-law says. He then says he went to speak to witness B. And the feedback he received from witness B is that the state will be opposing bail. So that's the feedback. But then the matter goes to court and Tau is granted bail. After Tau is granted bail, this is now the 3rd occasion you're having the conversation with Tsukudu. That's when you then say, Tsukudu, the family is grateful. So this is not a single incident or 2 incidents. It's 3 different incidents. So you cannot relate 2 to 3 because they are completely different. They're not the same event on the same day. Before the bail hearing, witness B told Tsukudu that the state is opposing bail. Bail is then granted the following week, at which point you then convey to Tsukudu that the family is grateful. So the message must be sent to witness B. That's why the dates were important to me, because you had the meeting with Katiso Molefe at the end of June 2024. This meeting you have with Tsukudu is on Saturday, 27 July 2024. Tsukudu then approaches witness B on Tuesday, the 30th of July 2024. And as I understand, the bail hearing happens in the first week of August. So there is that sequence which you must take into account. You cannot say these things all happened at the same time. So your logic that you could not have thanked or you could not have conveyed the family's gratitude, it doesn't add up when you consider that these were separate incidents. It's not as if witness B had said, I will be opposing bail, I do not grant bail. That's the feedback she gives to Kudu after Tukudu had conveyed to her that the family is grateful. So do you understand?
Commissioner, not really. What I'm understanding is that there is a sequence of events. However, during those sequence of events, Tugudu is alleging that he came and updated me. And now, the first update was that, according to Tugudu, witness B said she is not able to assist me or my brother-in-law in in not opposing bail.
No, this is exactly what I'm saying you are getting wrong. The first update is the last sentence of paragraph 4, where Tukudu comes back and says, the state is opposing bail. So that's what you are told, that the state is opposing bail. That's not the feedback where witness B says, I can't help you, that's the magistrate. They are not before the magistrate yet, so witness B can't say that during that update. Witness B reacts to the gratitude being extended to her, that thank you for ensuring that Tau got bail. Witness B then says, I had nothing to do with it. That was the decision of the magistrate. And that's where I think you are getting confused, because you are assuming that she said that before the hearing. Because if she had said that before the hearing, it would make sense that you would have nothing to thank her for, or the family would have nothing to thank her for. So I think that's the part you are missing, and I wanted to clarify.
Okay, Commissioner, I hear what you say, although I'm not sure if I am with you. I'm understanding wholly what you say, but if I'm understanding you well, on the first response, which talks to the last sentence of paragraph 4, which reads that I then returned informed Brigadier Nkwashu that the state is opposing bail. Yes. I find it sinister that I knew that the state is opposing bail.
But you don't know that on the date of the hearing it was opposed. That's my point. The feedback is that the state will be opposing. Yes. It may be that when it goes to the hearing, the position is different, because when you see bail being granted, you are thankful that, oh, maybe it was granted because they did not resist the application, and that's what you are grateful for. So there's no contradiction there. And that's the point I think you are missing, because you are assuming here that the opposition has already happened when you get the first feedback, and that's not the case.
Commissioner Kumalo, if I'm understanding you well, my understanding was that this was not the first court appearance. So, in the first appearance, obviously it's a Schedule 6 offense. The bail was opposed. The bail should be opposed, and it was opposed. And Definitely, I know that. Now, the conversation between me and Tsugud, it is an allegation that I sent him to go test waters if she's not going to be difficult or oppose bail. But I already know that the bail has been opposed in the first appearance. Now, why would I send Tsugudi to go and try and soften this investigating officer, by saying that, please, you must not oppose bail? Already the bail has been opposed, and
No.
I know.
Brigadier, you could make the same argument for Katiso Molefe to say, when they went for bail in April, he knew that the state was opposing. So why would he, at the end of June, be asking if the state would be opposing? It is the same point. This was a new bail application on new facts, and if I remember correctly, it had to do with Mr. Dow's diabetic condition. And those were the new facts that were going to be placed before the court to say, these are now new exceptional circumstances. And those would have required new opposition if necessary. So that's the context of the discussion. It has nothing to do with whether in April, when he was first arrested, there was opposition to his bail application. That's why I said the dates are important. And you must focus on, after the discussion with Dow, what really happened between those 4 weeks, because it's really a 4-week period between end of June and end of July.
Thanks, Commissioner. I did not know that information. I was not aware, but having explained to me now is clear. Yes. What you are saying. Thanks, Commissioner. I didn't know. I didn't know that there were new facts.
Let us adjourn and resume at past. And may we just quickly see counsel outside, please.
I was going to suggest we do some stretching exercises, but let's get on with it. Please switch off your cell phones. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Bowe.
Brigadier, I want to put to you a different possibility to what Commissioner Kumalo put to you. So your response to Sergeant Sukudu having gone to convey a message of gratitude to Witness B, that it would be said somewhat nonsensical for that to happen because she had previously indicated that the bail would be opposed. You recall that? Now, we specifically, during Witness B's testimony, asked the question, why would a message of gratitude come to you when it was clear that bail would be opposed? And her answer was that she perceived it as a thinly veiled threat and just a message of saying, we are watching. Bearing in mind that the gratitude is coming from you, a senior officer at the rank of a brigadier, to a junior officer at the rank of a sergeant. What is your comment to that?
I wouldn't do that. I did not send Tsugudu to send a message of thank you.
And even though you say you didn't, you understand why, if such a message were to be delivered, it would come across as a threat.
Yes.
And then, Brigadier, just to go back to something that you said, it's not in your statement, but when you were dealing with paragraph 30 of your statement, and you were talking about the general response when you told the group that included Sergeant Sukudu that you told your brother-in-law that you don't discuss work issues. You mentioned specifically in your explanation that you even went to a point of saying, as they were questioning, why ungasizus bar? Oof. Sorry, I was making a remark about my poor Zulu. You indicated that you even, in fact, said to them in broad terms, no, you don't want to get involved in that, but if they wanted to, they can do so. You recall that?
Yes, Advocate.
So if you recall saying that and giving your friendship with Sergeant Sukudu, would you fault him then for taking that plight forward, given that you did say if they wanted to, they could?
Yes, Advocate, I will fault him on the basis of, I'll go back to the two faults, on the basis of him having to carry out a request or an instruction from a social gathering. And on the other fault, I will not blame him for thinking that he's helping a friend.
So you do accept that you wouldn't fault him because he would be helping a friend?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, I want to move.
In fact, I would go on to say, I would put it higher than not faulting a friend. I would say that you put to him certain information, which is your brother-in-law wants to know whether the state will oppose bail, and your brother-in-law is prepared to make payment. You put that information to him, and then you then also say, I'm not going to help because I don't do business with family, work with family. But if any one of you wants to help, you can do so. I think with that, it's consistent. In fact, what he says in his statement that he then said to you, I will ask witness B, is very much consistent with that last statement from you that says if any one of you wants to help, you can do so. And it's more probable than not that he responded to you to say, I will ask her. Because it makes sense in the sequence of what you say and him saying, I responded and said, I will ask her. Do you accept that's a fair way of summarizing what probably happened here?
On balance of probability, I accept.
Okay, thank you.
I want to put another probability to you, Brigadier. Another probability is that the reason why you even told Captain Tukudu about your conversation with your brother-in-law was because you wanted him to convey that message to witness B. Otherwise, it would have been a pointless conversation to have with Captain Tukudu, is it Sergeant Tukudu? The only reason you had that conversation with him was you wanted to convey to him so that he can convey to witness B what your brother had conveyed to you. Do you want to comment?
Yes, Commissioner Kumalo, I deny, I never had that intention.
Because I can't think of any reason why what your brother discussed with you would be of any interest to Sergeant Tukudu. It is a family discussion. You are getting acquainted with your brother-in-law who you didn't know for years or had not seen for years. And you were upset about how the conversation went and you wanted it to end there. But the fact that you went and you repeated it to Captain Tukudu suggests to me that you wanted him to convey that to witness B.
I can't blame you for thinking that way, Commissioner.
I'm not suggesting that that is in fact the position, so that you understand.
I agree.
Yeah, it is a probability.
Yes.
I put it no higher than that.
Thank you.
Amongst many probabilities.
Yes, I agree, Commissioner.
Lastly, Brigadier, on this topic, the statement from Sergeant Tukudu is in January 2025. You will see that at page 3. It's the 14th of January 2025. You've described him as a good friend of yours, and he also does explain that you have a close relationship or a good relationship. Do you have a reason why he would make up this elaborate story about how the conversation about your brother-in-law came about? What was said in that conversation by you to him? And lastly, what you find in paragraph 5, which is that you later called him and told him that the family thanks, your brother-in-law's family thank him for Mr. Tau's bail. Do you have a suggestion why he would make up this elaborate story if it is not true, considering that he's a good friend of yours?
I am struggling to make anything out of that, Commissioner. I wouldn't really think of the reason why you will be doing that, except what I said earlier on, that the probability could be that he was doing a friend a favor.
Thank you, Brigadier. Thank you, Ms.
Thanks, Commissioner.
And then just to complete this topic, I want to bring to your attention, Brigadier, the statement of the provincial component head of organized crime. If we go to page 61 of tab 3, that would be annexure B7. Have you found it?
That is in page 61.
Yes, the red 61.
I got it, Commissioners.
You will see there that it is a statement from, I'm trying to look if but she says she's the provincial head of organized crime. Or she's at least in that unit. And we know her to be the supervisor of the investigators in the case, as well as Sergeant Sugud. Are you familiar with Ms. Hopan?
Yes, Commissioners, on top of that statement is written that Cynthia Pulan Hopan. So
Yes.
I'm familiar with her, I know her,
Do you know her rank?
yes.
It
She's
is
a brigadier.
brigadier, okay. Thank you, that assists me. And you will see there that in the second paragraph, she recounts, similar to what witness B had testified and what Sergeant Sugudu has said, that the detectives were approached by Sergeant Sugudu on your instruction to inquire about Mr. Tao's bail, and that they were surprised because they do not know you. And she informed the members that this was a sensitive case and they were not to talk about it to anyone except for herself and the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Major General Kumar. You see that?
Yes.
And
Advocate.
then says that during that period, the members were busy with a formal bail application on the same mentioned suspect. The said suspect was granted bail. They further reported that the very same member, being Sergeant Sugudu, called them to say, Brigadier Ngwashu says, thank you so much. The same suspect was rearrested on the 20th of September. Brigadier Hopani says she called Sergeant Sugudu and the member to reprimand him. The member agreed and said he didn't know and was just sent by the brigadier. He didn't know how serious the case is. He further apologized and he said he would stop this behavior. So here I was just trying to show you that this version that he has of you, he then reports this when reprimanded to his supervisor. Can you see?
I see, Advocate.
Yeah, and I think it's similar to the question that Commissioner Baloyi asked, it is improbable for him to construct such a scheme and to go as far as even reporting this to his superiors if it was untrue. Do you accept that?
I don't accept it, Advocate, in the context that you put it, because it is not Sergeant Sugudu who reported it to the brigadier.
No.
Instead, it is...
My apologies, Brigadier. Maybe I'm not suggesting that he reported it. I'm saying when reprimanded, he still insisted that it was you who sent him.
Oh, yes, I see
Yes.
that, yeah. Yes.
All right. Commissioners, I'm going to move off of this topic to head to the next one. And that relates, if we go sequentially through your statement, Brigadier, we are going to section E, and that's the demand for the Armand Swart murder docket.
Section E.
Page 11, Brigadier.
Page 11. Thanks, Commissioner.
For purposes of this section, I guess I will direct when we get there. So, Brigadier, you mentioned there that you never made a demand for the docket. Instead, at the time, you were acting on instruction from the provincial commissioner to collect all dockets that had J50 warrants of arrest and submit them to the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Crime Detection, Major General Mbuso Khumalo. Is that correct?
Correct, Advocate.
And that was because there was a direction from the Premier of Gauteng for Major General Khumalo to oversee those dockets.
Correct, Advocate.
Now, let's start here. Commissioners, if we can go...
Sorry. This may be a matter of detail, but I'm interested to just get an idea on, or rather, what authority, if any, did the Premier have to give such a direction? Do you know?
I don't know, Commissioner.
You may proceed, Ms. Bowen.
All right. So now to begin with, in order to understand this instruction, I'm going to ask Brigadier that we go to CJC 187. So it would be the red page 27.
Um, 187, you said. Is it in page 22?
27.
27, I'm sorry.
So CJC 187 and then page 27.
Oh, I've got it. Thanks, Advocate.
Yes. Just to contextualize this, when we received your statement, we then, of course, wrote to various officers asking for correspondence in relation to the request for dockets and what the project was about.
Yes, Advocate.
So one of the things that was provided to us is this email that went out to all of the districts explaining what was necessary. So if you have regard to the bottom of page 27, you will see there all of the district people that were contacted. Can you see that? It goes on to the following page.
Yes,
And you will see on page 28 that you are one of the recipients. Can you see that?
correct, Advocate.
And then, if you have regard to the body of the email, it says request for copies of J50 warrants of arrest, Premier's Wanted Persons Project. Do you have
Suspect, Advocate.
Premier's Wanted Persons Project?
I'm just correcting you, sorry, Advocate, that's Premier's wanted suspect that I'm seeing here in my panel.
Are we at the same page?
Yeah, page 28.
Advocate Boyd, the subject of the email.
Yes, my apologies. So if we look at the body of the email, see, good morning, attention,
Oh.
district commissioners, district coordination, and then coordinators, and then it says request for copies of J50 warrants of arrest, Premier's Wanted Persons Project.
Correct, Advocate, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, we
I
are
was
both
not-
correct in this regard. And you'll see there, it says by directives of DPC Crime Detection, all provincial commanders and section commanders must submit copies of the J50 warrants of arrest to room that room, and it gives then the total and the breakdown per district. Can you see that,
Correct, Advocate?
right? Do you recall receiving this email?
Correct, Advocate?
And then, just for completeness, if you look at the following page, you will see there that it's the same project, and there was an attachment of the list of copies of the J50 warrants of arrest needed. Can you see that?
At page 30.
Sorry, at page 29, that email.
There is no attachment.
The attachment is at page 30.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes,
what
I
we
see.
did, just for transparency, is we only inserted the annexure that related to the Sidibeng district. So we didn't attach all of the others related to other districts. So this was then the email that was sent to you in the list of dockets that, or warrants that were sought.
Correct, Advocate?
And you will see on page, the following page after, with what should be page 30, yeah, page 30. The last, can you confirm that the last case at the bottom is the docket in question?
Correct, Advocate?
Now, if you look at the instruction that was sent to you and what was sought, what was sought was copies of the warrants of arrest from these dockets. So my question is, why were you requesting the docket in its entirety?
Thank you, Advocate. When an instruction of this nature is issued, we all know that the warrant of arrest, which is a J50, is attached to a docket. So, meaning it's a document that is within the docket. And if you are to deal with the J50, meaning you have to account as to why is the suspect not being arrested. Now, in the docket, there will be a page that contains the contents of the activities done by the investigating officers, such as suspect trace was not found, or suspect was never traced for a particular period. So if you request the warrant of arrest only, you will not be privy to that information.
I suppose my question is, if you look at page 28, the instruction there seems quite clear. I can understand and appreciate your explanation that you would want more than the J50 to understand what is happening. But it seems there that the directive is for submission of copies of the J50, and they say in brackets, warrants of arrest.
Thank you, Advocate. In my experience, when a J50 warrant of arrest is requested, you can't remove it from the main docket. You keep it in the docket, and then you submit the docket so that it can give you more details, as I've alluded earlier on.
But you'll see here that they requested copies, not the actual warrants.
Advocate, I'm not disputing the fact that they requested copies, but we normally do it that way, as I've explained, that even when the warrant is needed. For an example, Advocate, when the suspect is arrested, say in KwaZulu-Natal, and then they will send a similar kind of a request to say, we have arrested a wanted suspect in this environment. So the system shows that there is a warrant of arrest issued to him, to this particular person. So when you go look for the copy of the J50, you'll get it in the docket. And that particular suspect, if you take only the copy, you send it to the particular station requesting the J50 warrant, the court will not prosecute this arrested suspect without the docket.
You mean the NPA, the court does not prosecute?
The NPA, thanks, Commissioner.
Maybe let me understand this. What did you understand the previous wanted persons project to be?
The previous wanted project.
This project, what did you understand it to be?
Oh, yes,
Or
thanks,
about-
Advocate.
Yeah.
This project, I understood it to be for all those cases where warrant of arrest were issued for particular suspects who are wanted and are not arrested as yet. Now, when you send the docket to the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, they will need to peruse the docket and acquaint themselves with what is happening in the investigation of the case. Why, for an example, why is this suspect not being arrested? And hence, I'm saying you send the copy of the warrant of arrest within that particular docket for perusal by the requester.
All right. Now, if you then look at CJC 188, it starts at page 31.
Yes.
Perhaps just some questions on the annexure we are dealing with and the paragraph this relates to. So the oversight function by Major General Kumalo that you referred to in paragraph 40 was to follow up on the investigation as you explained.
Commissioner, let me apologize.
You say the docket was the dockets were to be looked at, and questions like why has this and that not happened? Why has this person not been arrested? So that's the oversight function, and which you say was to be conducted by Major General Kumalo. Look at paragraph 40 if you don't follow what I'm asking.
Paragraph 40
40 of your statement.
of my statement.
Yes.
I'm on paragraph 40, Commissioner.
Yes. Do you see that towards the end of the paragraph, you referred to some oversight function that was going to be performed by Major General Kumalo in relation to or with regard to these dockets?
I think I'm at the wrong page.
What's I was just about to ask what's so difficult.
My apology, Commissioner, I'm at the relevant
Yes.
page now. I see what you are referring me to,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair.
Yes. Now, do you have any idea how long this oversight would have taken?
No, Commissioner.
But surely if General Kumalo was to go through all these dockets, look at them, they are listed at page 28, and if I'm reading this correctly, there were 421 of them, is that correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
So I would imagine this would have taken quite some time, not so? If the general was to go through all 421 of them, correct?
Correct, Commissioner. Although I know for a fact that if it's a project, the general will have a team that will be assisting him to go through the dockets.
But you've already said correct, it would take quite some time, even if it was a team, correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
Yes.